Thank you all for joining this webinar. We will discuss briefly about, let's say, the general process on how to tackle issues related to performance and stability. For those who don't know me, my name is Pope. I'm Enterprise PDM technical support engineer for more than 4 years. Before that, I was like you guys, application engineer for products like Enovia and Katia for almost 5 years. And I chose this topic because among others, I want to present some new tools that are available for troubleshooting stability and performance issues, and that are available for you resellers especially. Basically, before we proceed, why did I choose this topic, stability and performance? First of all, these kind of issues are very visible to the high management of our customers, so they are they also make the decision if they keep or change a software product. So these two topics are quite sensible, and they should be well managed. When we deal in general with stability and performance issues, we need to understand that usually there is more than one issue that affects the general stability. Also could be more than one issue for performance as well. So it's very important to isolate, let's say, the main contributors for either stability, instability, or system slowness. What are the first steps when we are dealing with such issues? First of all, for example, for stability, you can run a diagnostic tool such as SolidWorks RX, and keep in mind that it is available for our customers and also for resellers. This new functionality, CAD admin dashboard, on the customer portal, that should give you an overview for a given serial number of all the machines environments, if they are using supported drivers and so on. Regarding performance, again, you need to ensure that the database server, first of all, is configured correctly. There is a lot of documentation on solid practices on the VRC side, and there is this new tool, Enterprise PDM status report, that will make a kind of basic diagnostic similar with the one SolidWorks RX is doing for a workstation. Maybe just to give you an idea, speaking about this tool, connect to the SQL server, and now I have the option to run a diagnostic against the database. And usually we check, let's say, settings, configurations that we know may contribute for performance issues or not. Anyway, more about this tool we're gonna discuss later during this presentation. Now, let's speak first of all about performance and later about stability, and in the end we're gonna have a look at these troubleshooting tools. Regarding performance, there are basically, you can say, 3 main categories. It's important to be aware that most of the performance issues are related to database server. Although they are reported by clients, they claim the system is slow. Actually, what can happen is that the server maybe is not coping with the request, maybe it's not configured properly, has a bad maintenance plan, no pre-built reorder index maintenance tasks, or doesn't have enough CPU. And there are of course complex issues such as concurrency, that are of course of many kinds. Could be blockings, lockings, or deadlocks. On the client side, performance is not quite often, but it can occur, especially when we are dealing with add-ins that are using hooks. For customization, for example, if you have a data card with maybe hundreds of controls, it will take time to load all those controls depending on how they are configured. Or maybe there are let's say not enough resources on the local machine, or the local machine is not configured correctly. When we speak about performance, it's very important to be aware about the one performance, which depends a lot on the latency values. So it's normal that the more latency is let's say smaller, actually higher, sorry, that certain commands will take time. Just one tip regarding a new registry key that is available from SolidWorks 2014 SP3. So if you have customers that are using one environment, you can reduce the SQL overhead from the SolidWorks session by disabling some of the SolidWorks add-in contextual menu features. It's important to be aware that when you deal in general with performance issues, you should check the history of the problem. So sometimes it could happen that the customer upgraded or the customer changed the hardware. So there should always be a reason that or a cause of the performance problem. What you can do, let's say as a first step, you can use like tools to get an overview of the performance status of the PDM environment. So you can use the SQL Server performance dashboard reports, or this PDM status report. What else you can do is, especially if you are dealing with performance issues that can be reproducible, you should attempt to isolate the case. So later on, if you open a service request, it will accelerate the assessment process, and we can have a SPR or identify an existing SPR and so on. Of course, it's quite a wide topic, how to diagnose performance. Usually it involves also to use dedicated tools like Server Activity Monitor to capture data, extended events, SQL Server Profiler. We have also PSS DAG that is basically making traces, and you can do also benchmark tests, verify the performance of a command against let's say faults that are using default configurations and so on. You should be aware also when you deal with performance issues about the difference between the server and client performance. For example, there is a kind of unwritten rule. When you measure a PDM operation, you should be aware that a lot of the time of that operation is written against the SQL servers, so there are SQL statements executed. Now, if there are enough resources on that SQL server and there are no other locks, this operation will be in a timely manner. Now, let's say that you will make a search. Basically, the search will return an amount of results, and those results, let's say, will be loaded on a tree view or a data grid view on the client application on File Explorer. It will populate a list with the results of your search. So you will see an additional time to populate that list. Here you can see in support of this an example for viewing a bill of material. let's say that you measure 1 second or 2 seconds to view a bill of material of a large assembly. You can use like a tool, SQL Server Profiler, to capture all the SQL statements. You can identify here in the application name the Explorer X, which is the PDM file explorer, and you will see here in a column the duration of your operation, and the SQL statement will look like this. Basically, you can see here as the procedure about boom list processor 1, and the difference between this time and the one that you measured is basically the time it takes for the client application, the PDM file explorer, to populate that the list for the bill of material for the component you selected. Regarding stability, what are, let's say, the main aspects that you should be aware of when we speak about crashes in general? What is, let's say, failing, is crashing most, are the CAD applications, because they load large assemblies, there are memory issues, and so on. You could have multiple sessions, like, let's say, multiple assemblies loaded. So there is a lot of data loaded and unloaded in the memory. So when you want to tackle such issues, you should focus most of all on SolidWorks application, regardless if it's that customer is using SolidWorks PDM add-in. You should be aware that regarding SolidWorks, starting with 2014 SP3, the option that sends performance feedback to SolidWorks support, it actually includes also information about SolidWorks EPDM add-in, which means now we can know if the stability issues are related also with the EPDM, not only SolidWorks product. Keep in mind that when you make a stability investigation, you should look at, let's say, at least 1 month of data. So the customer should have on all users performance feedback enabled for at least 1 month. And if possible, especially if you want to troubleshoot other EPDM application errors, you should gather on some users those logs, like EPDM client log, archive server log, and so on. For customers, they can use this CAD admin dashboard from customer portal, which is quite useful to have a good overview about each machine, let's say, details. Keep in mind that there are 2 SPRs, because ideally all the VAR should have access to his customer's CAD admin dashboard. Maybe an application engineer could help customers if he see that they forgot to, let's say, update drivers and so on. And there is also limitations, so currently you can see serial numbers only for one, let's say you can see all this data for one serial number. What is the diagnosis process when we deal with stability issues? First of all, you should use, as I said, you should focus on SolidWorks product. Maybe you could use SolidWorks RX to make a diagnostic of this CAD admin dashboard. It's important that everything is up to date, they don't have conflicts, especially with .NET framework. For, let's say, other non-SolidWorks products used for 3D design, you need to check with their support, whatever they have, to solve crashes, analyze, monitor crashes. If you are, let's say, interested in troubleshoot errors related to EPDM applications, you could use this new tool, EPDM logs parsers reports, which gives you an overview about the errors by type. We're gonna see this tool shortly. Ideally, you should, the first step, you should try to isolate any instability issue and check if somehow you can reproduce it. If an issue is reproduced in general, you can consider it 50% solved, because we're going to have a SPR. Technical support can look at that SPR, look for workarounds. Development can find, of course, a potential fix for that issue. One observation: when you are dealing with large customer accounts, let's say 50 users at least, it's advisable to do stability investigations with SolidWorks support, simply because we have dedicated internal tools like Henry that should give us a very detailed overview of what is happening on a customer environment in terms of crashes. The most common scenario for us to solve such issues basically are to identify top most relevant crash patterns, let's say top 5, and we need to ensure that each of these SPR is in SPR database and has a reproducible scenario. That means development can look into a little bit closer to this issue. So more or less these are, let's say, some guidelines on how to deal with performance stability. Keep in mind there is a lot also for crashes related to SolidWorks. There is a solid practice written. We have plenty for performance. So now we're gonna discuss about some dedicated troubleshooting tools. We're gonna start with EPDM status report, which it gives you a snapshot of the EPDM environment from a customer. So here, when I made this tool, I gathered some reports that I found them useful to solve performance issues. So there are these groups. One is diagnostic report, which checks, let's say, the first two verifications are if the customer is using a supported standard SQL edition, sorry, and the other one is checking if EPDM's SQL Server version is correct. Also checks if there are enough logical processors, but these are more or less an estimation. If there is enough amount of RAM for the database. For example, it should the maximum size of memory should have a buffer of 2 or 3 gigabytes. So the total amount minus 2-3 gigabytes of RAM, that should be let's say reserved for the actual operating system and other server applications. 10 dB is also very important, so it matters that the initial size is not left with the default settings. It should be at least 1 gigabyte on all servers from my point of view. And also the growth value is relevant for 10 dB because it may lead to defragmentation and so on. Here we can see that I ran the report on this demo vault. And I can see here that the add-ins are not updated, so I can go to the add-ins report and check here in the details. I can see that add-in version is 2014 SP0, but my vault is SP3, which means I need to update these add-ins. And there is also a partial check if there are pre-built or reorder maintenance tasks. They are very important, especially for performance during search operation. So if your customers do not use them, the PDM environment will suffer in terms of performance. Now here is a report called General Statistics, which is more useful for you guys when you make implementations. So what it gathers, the main idea to this report is to tell you if certain environment has a complex or average, let's say, customization. So the more workflows you have, or file cards, controls, groups, we can say your Vault customizations is complex. So here I check basically the main areas that will tell me what kind of customizations you have. Now here, for example, if you have the average controls per file type card, if you have here like 100 average or 300 controls per file data card, means that you're going to create a lot of metadata. So if you have this case combined with the situation that the users create maybe many documents per day, you might end up to create 5 millions of variable values. So these are not mandatory problems, but on the long term, let's say on 5 years, it may affect performance for certain operations. Here you can see in this below category, you can see that what is the, let's say, amount of data, let's say, created in terms of files and folders, documents and versions, and variables and their values. There are some categories here like unused transitions, variables. They're not really relevant for this Vault, but if you, for example, have like 100 of unused transitions or over 100 unused variables, you might maybe there are some leftovers in your Vault customization, or customer decided to play with the settings, so maybe you should address them. Now for Vault size reports are mainly for administrators, so it will be interesting for a customer administrator to know how much a Vault grows per year and which file extension is contributing most to the file size. This basically gives you an idea about how are the growth trends for the archive Vault. This one will give you a similar overview of the database size, so you can see which table let's say has most of the space in the database. Now we're gonna discuss a little bit about the performance reports. So this will take a while until it's populated. So first report is CPU consumption, which is basically, there is a similar report on SQL Server standard reports, if you are familiar with this. This will tell you, let's say, the objects that are using most of the CPU time, and if these values in milliseconds are not big, you should not be concerned of let's say top 5 CPU consumers. So you need to correlate any information you read here with the other columns. You will see here a list with object names, but object names are basically store procedures, or let's say functions, table functions from the database. We have over 1,000 store procedures and functions scalar functions, table functions. The main idea is that they will tell you what operation is actually used in that vault. So they are not documented, but their name is self-explanatory. So don't get history, it's obvious. Someone was using operation to get the history of the documents. Check messages is check messages, generate notification is it right? So you don't have to be an expert. Now on a production environment that is using SolidWorks assemblies, let's say medium and large assemblies, more than 50% of the CPU will be xref-get3, because basically it's used during file references. So if you see this consuming more than 50%, it's not something strange. It's normal because we read file references when we do checkout, check-in, get references, change state, and so on. Actually not during check-in. During check-in we have build tree, but all the others, they do apply. Here it's a report about the workload. So this report, basically there are several categories that we can look at, like metadata to see the cumulative total, cumulative growth in percentage, and so on. And this is per year. For concurrency, this particular vault doesn't have concurrent incidents, so there's nothing I can show you. However, do know that this application can save these reports. So what I'm going to do here, I open another report, status report, and I'm going to open a saved session from another, let's say, SQL server and vault that will load the saved diagnostics or saved reports. So here you can have in this overview the key of the icons. So if you see this disk means is a saved report, and here, as you can see, I have a concurrency report. So 2% concurrency. Here are, let's say, the criteria for which we say there is a concurrent incident. So the reason for which we retrieve this information is because if there is a high percentage of concurrency, it is kind of likely that that customer will run in blockings and locking scenarios. So you might have to have a check on these categories. Maybe start SQL traces, extended events with to capture locks, blockings, events. I'm gonna close this. Index fragmentation is basically checking if there are tables that have a lot of defragmentation. This one is okay. So if you have someone that doesn't have maintenance tasks, this report will show what action is required against the database. There is also a check for shrink task, because we have a PDM specific case where a shrink is required, but it's a case especially for messages table. This check was done based on a customer incident. Anyway, the point is this tool is meant to also capture issues that technical support is dealing with, so has the advantage that we can include in this tool checks for, let's say, potential issues for PDM databases. Now, vault history. Basically, these reports should be used for cross-checking. So I told you today that it's important if to to check if the customer upgraded their environment before they started a performance issue. So you can check here, let's say, the history of updates of the Vault, along with the history of the Vault settings changes. These are available also in PDM administration, but here I place them along with the file operation history. I place them for cross-checking. For example, if you had an incident in one day, you can check if in that day maybe there were many rollback or delete operations to see if there was anything out of the ordinary happening. Note that if you need, for example, to get more detailed information for a certain incident where you have the date and time, this one will show you just, let's say, the workload on a specific date, but you can use the other tool, PDM logs parsers, to check all the file vault operations from a specific date and time. The last report is add-ins. We kind of saw what is the importance. If there are, you should use it with diagnostics. And more or less, this is status report, has these options to save data. So ideally you can run this tool on a customer environment, generate the reports and send it to technical support if it's required. Do know that this tool currently is on beta, so I hope that next week I will have a production ready version. I'm still gathering information about bugs, and most likely it will be updated. It will over time will have more reports, and of course I'm kind of open for any suggestions you may have to improve this tool. So the next tool is one of the Microsoft SQL Server toys. It's called Performance Dashboard Reports. Basically, you can go to this knowledge-based solution. There is a link from where you can download this tool. It's useful for CPU bottlenecks, input-output bottlenecks, blocking, ledge convention. And how does it work? You just open SQL Server, and you can run the tool from here. Standard reports, performance dashboard. Basically, it's using the standard reports, let's say, technology. What is nice about this tool is that it can give you an idea about the CPU utilization, and here you will have a second graph if you have lockings, blockings, incidents, and then you can interact on all these graphs and let's say reports that are shown. So for example, if I click here, I can see top queries by CPU. This is a tool that is made by Microsoft and is maintained by them. The point is, maybe there are many other tools out there which are much better to, let's say, monitor performance and capture performance data, but this one has the advantage that is free compared with the others. So it's kind of easy to use. You navigate from here, and let's say combine with the other tools like Activity Monitor that gives you an overview in real time about the performance of the SQL server that is hosting the database. You can get an understanding of what is happening on a certain environment if it's affected by performance. The next tool is PDM log parser. Basically what it's doing is combining all main vault operations with all client logs or server logs errors reported, so you could have them in one common list, and is using EPDM API to extract, for example, for a specific error. Right now, for example, if I open administration, I will see an error with a number. Just 1 second. For example, I have this error and I have an archive ID, but what happens if I want more information, more than this, and if I run this tool, just bear with me. I will have, let's say, a similar list. What you can see here is a saved session. For example, you can have a customer gather all this data and save it and send it to you, so you don't need their database backup restored and so on. You can have a good overview of what was happening during one error in the vault. And it gives you, let's say, the tool gives you also reports for all the errors, so you can see them on a timeline. You can see them grouped by module, by functions, C++ functions, by error code, and by log, which logs are basically from client machines, so they could have computer names. And you have also details, of course, for all these logs. You can see the entire list that was used for these graphs. So let's see this tool in action. I'm gonna start a new session. And here there is, first of all, I need to connect to a vault. Okay, and now I will add logs. Currently, I'm adding logs using this operation, Control A, Control C. I'm copying this entry board and I'm just pasting this here. I will name this as David PC log. I apply it. This tool is currently available to download this knowledge-based solution, so you can have a play with this tool whenever you want. I just show you how you can import logs. Let's say in my case I have right now one log and one vault, so I'm gonna first parse the logs and events. So this may take, depending on the amount of data, it may take several minutes or seconds. In my case, just choose a small period of time. And as I was saying before, now that this log was generated and I have an open connection to the vault, when I have an error like this one, I can see the file history, or I can see the file references. So, and if this error, let's say, was related to maybe some blockings, I can see, or deadlocks, I can see what other operations were submitted to the vault at a given time. Regarding adding vaults, you have the options. For example, if you have customer in China, you should add the time offset for that customer. You can choose colors anyway. The point is you can choose for each log a color for cross-checking especially. Anyway, the intention is to add more support on this tool, so the next supported logs will be archive consistency logs, also system HUD from SQL Server. So system HUD session has information about error connectivities, deadlocks, waitings, so you can see them here as an event and check what was happening in the vault. And of course Windows application logs may be loaded as well in the future. Currently you can load let's say Windows applications logs by using collect support information. So collect support information, not this one, sorry. It's saving local event logs that are basically system and Windows application logs. So if you generate this file, you can load it in the tool and see in this way also Windows errors if you want. Anyway, it's on an ongoing project, and in time it will be enhanced, and I hope that it will help you guys to solve issues faster. Now if you would like to make enhancements or report issues to these two products that, I repeat, are still on beta, feel free to contact me directly at this email. Do you have any questions? I have so right now let's spend some time on questions. I have a question from Tony Gracing. Is asking if it will support the archive consistency tool reporting. This one will be archive consistency tool is embedded in a PDM administration, generating a log, and the intention here is to take that log and have it in EPDM. Sorry, just. So the intention is to load the archive consistency log and generate a report under this section. So there will be a third report for archive consistency errors that will have additional columns like the last user and the time when the missing version from the archive consistency log was done. So it will give you an overview about the timeline of these errors. Maybe they started to happen after an upgrade or other similar things like this. Regarding export to CSV, yes, there is. So if you do something like this, so Vunk Buke asked if we can export this CSV. You can copy to clipboard and you can paste it on an Excel file. It should capture also the column names. Last time I checked. Just bear with me. So I'm gonna check the copy paste functionality. Just bear with me. So yeah, I just pasted some of the columns. Apparently it doesn't copy also the headers, but I'm gonna make a note to copy also these headers. Wonder why. Anyway, this is a good observation. So I hope. Okay, Hector Morales asked for the PowerPoint. Yes, the point is there will be. I made 2 video recordings. I hope one of them is including also the sound. So both presentation, PowerPoint, and video recording will be available on the VRC. So I will submit them today. So, are there any other last questions? Okay, thanks again for your time then. If after you use the tools you want more information, or you think that certain reports should be included in the future, or certain features, please let me know. This is my email. Feel free to open service request if you want a functionality that is required very fast, or I don't know. The point here is that I already have a big list with the functionalities that I want to include in this report, but this will take maybe weeks, months, until they will be applied basically gradually in time. Okay, then I think this is all, guys, and I hope you learned something new from this presentation, and feel free to contact me.